There's still time to play Shop, Play, Win Monopoly at Albertsons and Bonds with over $230 million in prizes and money-saving offers. Game ends May 4th. Satisfy your thirst with Coca-Cola, bubbly or sparkling ice. Take a snack break with Sargento cheese or Ritz. And serve up fun with Pop-Tarts. Increase your chances to win. Shop these bonus ticket items specially tagged in store. Download the Shop, Play, Win app to play today. No purchase necessary. See rules at www.shopplaywin.com. Hasbro is not a sponsor of this promotion.
With the powerful combination of Michelin X1 tires and the Michelin Energy Guard aerodynamic solution on your truck, you can save 17 gallons every 1,000 miles. Go to business.michelinman.com/fuel saver for details.
Today, as we do every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, Freedom Watch is continuing with its citizens' grand juries. We've already had 4 sessions. We presented a lot of evidence with regard to the bribery of Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, and James Biden from communist China, from Ukraine and Russia. We now have verdict forms which indict them all for these crimes, many crimes involved in that, and you'll see that fleshed out in greater detail in the few days ahead. But today we're also going to present evidence with regard to John Kerry, who's a traitor, a simple traitor. We'll be seeking his indictment next. He, in fact, not only in a book written by my client, Jerry Morrissey, where he lines it out, was a traitor in Vietnam, but he's now passed classified information with regard to Israeli military activities in Syria, which impact on the United States, of course, to Iran. And that's on tape. There's no doubt. In addition, we'll be presenting evidence that Kerry's stepson, a Hines, Kerry wanting to marry up for money, he's basically a prostitute, married Patricia Hines after John Hines, the senator from Pennsylvania, tragically died in a helicopter crash. This guy is corrupt to the core. He's an anti-Semite. He's someone who really is a danger to this country. We'll be seeking his indictment. And of course, we did present evidence already with regard to Mitch McConnell, who with his wife, Elaine Chao, also engaged in selling influence for money to communist China. He will be indicted in the subsequent grand jury session as well. We'll be seeking that indictment. But yesterday, an important and heinous event. Rudy Giuliani, former mayor of New York, former U.S. attorney from the Southern District of New York, former deputy attorney general, had his apartment raided and his office raided for hard drives and cell phones. In fact, even the lawyer, Victoria Tenzing, who apparently had some involvement with Giuliani, even her cell phone was taken by what has become the Biden-Harris Gestapo at the Justice Department through its FBI. Now, here's the ultimate twist, an evil twist. Giuliani is being investigated for crimes dealing with the Ukraine. At the same time that his hard drives and his phones were taken and other material from his office and his apartment in a raid at 6 a.m. yesterday, Giuliani offered to give to the FBI hard drives which contained the emails of Hunter Biden, showing, in fact, that he'd engaged in this bribery scheme with Ukraine. See the symmetry? Ukraine. Giuliani now is being threatened with prosecution. His constitutional rights are being violated, obviously to try to get to Trump because they want to make sure that he stays dead and buried. And Giuliani was an advocate, however ineffective, of Trump. But at the same time, the Biden-Harris Gestapo at the DOJ and FBI lays off of Hunter Biden. And this points out the reason why you need citizens' grand juries. As I've said many, many, many times, Justice Scalia in 1992, in a case United States versus Williams, writing the majority opinion for our so-called Supreme Court, wrote that the grand jury belongs to the American people, not the 3 branches of government. Therefore, we need to take our legal system back, just like our founding fathers did from King George III when he stole it and took it back to London, England. We need to enforce the rule of law ourselves. And that's what I write about in my book, It Takes a Revolution, Forget the Scandal Industry. Go out and buy my book. You can get it at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, BooksAMillion.com, all major booksellers. And with a contribution of $50 or more that helps us do our work, pays for the citizens' grand juries and other activities, real activism, not just getting documents, we can do our work. We'll take our legal system back. And you can see how important it is, because anybody who watched the speech of our so-called president, our fraudulently elected president, I use the word president in quotes, and that evil lying witch, Kamala Harris, of an alleged vice president sitting behind him smirking throughout the speech, can see how quickly this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's a communist in sheep's clothing who's pushing this country to communism. $4 trillion of government spending to be paid for with higher taxes. Sound familiar? What did King George III do to the colonies when the colonies were doing well and were rich? He raped the colonies of money, and no taxation without representation. We sat there and we watched this speech and we saw the loser Republicans sitting there, not doing anything, not even reacting, because they're a dead party. They don't represent the American people. And that's why I am forming, in fact, I have the corporation set up, I have the domain names. We're forming a new political party under a different organization, not related to Freedom Watch, but in parallel, called the New American Independence Party. And we will introduce that at our Third Continental Congress on July 5th and 6th in Philadelphia, across from Independence Hall of this year. We're learned people, we're patriots from all avenues of American life will be coming to declare a new government, a new beginning, one without election fraud, one with judges who are elected, not appointed through political campaign contributions and other bribes on the federal bench, one where there's discrimination that can be actionable in court on the basis before honest judges, not compromised and corrupt judges, or discrimination on ideology and belief. That's what we have right now. That's the importance of it. And one last point for this podcast today. Just in the last few days, Freedom Watch got a warning on one of these podcasts with regard to my saying that the government was colluding with Big Pharma with regard to not telling all of the truth about the vaccines. Very benign, a warning. That's the type of defamation. YouTube, Google will be sued again by Freedom Watch for trying to interfere with freedom of speech. I don't give up. We previously sued Google, YouTube. We sued Apple. We sued Instagram. We sued all of them. And Justice Thomas said we had a good lawsuit. But in fact, nobody else at the Supreme Court would take it up. Well, we'll keep fighting. We'll keep punching, because you know what? We now have our own legal system. The American people are in control of their own fate. And although YouTube did not take down our YouTube channel, they did take down that particular posting, and it was benign, because we know that we haven't been told the truth, all of the truth, and that's just coming out now about the side effects of these vaccines, and the American people need to know that. So Larry Klayman and Freedom Watch and those in and around Larry Klayman, don't back down. We need to tell the truth, and we need to seek justice. And what you see here with raiding the office and home of Giuliani tells you that the Justice Department under Biden-Harris has been turned into their own Gestapo, like we saw in the Third Reich, where they're doing the bidding of socialists, communists, atheists, radical Muslims, radical blacks, radicals, Marxians of the Jewish left, radicals of all sorts, feminists, LGBTQs. And like I've said many, many times, most of the people in these groups are good people, but the radicals have seized control. And we saw it last night, because Biden is simply a puppet He's simply a puppet. They must have shot him up with something to keep him lucid for 1 hour. And he sets forth a plan to communize this country. And the Republicans sit there on their hands, saying and doing nothing. All they did was to have Senator Tim Scott come forward, someone who, by the way, threw President Trump under the bus, among other things. I didn't think his speech was very good. But typically, because he's black, he had to get praise. You know, he doesn't want praise. I give him credit for that based on race. And people should not be elevated just because of their race. But frankly, his speech was not very strong, nor was it very effective. And that's the Republican Party. The Republican Party's dead. It's over. We need to move on. We need ourselves to rise up. It takes a revolution, a peaceful and legal one. And I give you a roadmap, and I look forward to your input. You can give me that input at leclayman@gmail.com, because we only have a matter of months before this country's gone. And once Biden gets all this legislation passed and pushed through Congress with his socialist, communist, atheist friends in Congress, it's like herpes. It'll never go away, never go away. And when the Republicans tell you we're going to take back the House in 2020 and the Senate, A, that ain't going to happen. But B, because of the demographics. But B, even if they did, Biden will veto any chance to repeal this communization of the United States. That's my message for today. Tune in to our citizens' grand juries at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. See what we're doing. See how the American people are waging a peaceful and legal revolution to hold the criminals, particularly in Washington, accountable to the rule of law, God's law, and the law of nature. That's the law that prevails. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you. Remember that the Father and Son help those that help themselves. I'll be back tomorrow with another podcast with Special Prosecutor Larry Klayman. Until then, thank you for listening to me.
This is your new home speaking. I know you haven't moved in yet, but I need some favors. Could you dust the blinds? The dust makes me feel dusty. Also, we could save a lot of money if you bundled your home and car insurance with Geico. It's super easy to do online or over the phone. Last favor, when you move in, could you stick to one aesthetic? The last owner had a weird mix of floral wallpaper and nautical tchotchkes, and I can't have another identity crisis.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
At Acuity Insurance, we believe the things you do for your business every day are nothing short of heroic, and you deserve someone equally heroic to protect them. Like the breaking ground on new construction things, the every box and barcode matters things, and the driving the family business forward things. We put our all into covering your business so you can focus on the things you love most. That's the power of heart. Acuity Insurance, wholeheartedly for you.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/offer. That's ZipRecruiter.com/offer.